She pretended to be her best friend, just so she could steal her husband on the wedding day. Eva was not the kind of woman who bragged or pushed herself forward. She was calm, warm, and had a subtle beauty that won you over with time. Her eyes, a mix of green and dark brown, gave you the impression that she listened with her soul, not just her ears. She didn't go out very often. She didn't have a large group of friends, but those she loved with all her heart. She was 34 when she met Radu, a simple but thoughtful man, with a calm voice and the look of someone who knows what he wants. Together, they were a balance. They didn't have explosive passions, but they had peace, trust, a kind of home that doesn't waver at the first sign of trouble. Everything seemed to be going in the right direction. Then Bianca appeared. They met at the office. Bianca was the kind of woman who drew attention. Blonde, tall, always put together, with a smile always on her face. She seemed open, sociable, exactly the type who tells you she wants to be there for you. Eva welcomed her with an open heart. It was a busy time. She was tired. And somehow the fact that Bianca offered to help her with the wedding preparations felt like a gift from above. "You're lucky," Bianca told her one day. "Radu really is a man you rarely find these days. You two have something beautiful, don't lose it." But there were moments when Bianca's smile seemed too wide. Her questions were too personal, her interest a bit forced. Sometimes Eva felt a chill, but she immediately suppressed it. "Is it just me? I'm exaggerating. She's just generous. Or maybe not." The big day arrived, bringing all its emotions, a white dress, smiles, and those tears that only appear when the soul feels it's exactly where it should be. Eva wore a simple yet flawless dress, made of fine lace and natural silk. Nothing flashy. A straight cut, with slightly bare shoulders and a subtle train that glided smoothly across the floor. Her hair was styled in an elegant bun at the nape of her neck, with just two delicate strands framing her face. She wore no necklace, just a pair of small pearl earrings. She was beautiful, without trying too hard. A bride who didn't want to be admired, but loved. Bianca, on the other hand, looked ready for a walk down the red carpet. A long, form-fitting dress in a pale pink, almost white, close enough to the bride's color to draw attention. An open back, perfectly styled curls falling over her shoulders, bright red lipstick, and heels in which she walked like a queen. She kept fixing her hair, laughed loudly, and it seemed like every gesture she made demanded to be noticed. She didn't look like a guest. She looked like a rival. But Eva still didn't see. Or maybe she just didn't want to see. The party was in full swing. The music was playing, people were dancing, glasses were being refilled. Radu had gone over to the relative's table, and his phone was left on the table. Vibrate. Eva just wanted to send a photo to his mother, who couldn't get a signal. She picked up the phone. She doesn't even know why she tapped on WhatsApp. Maybe out of instinct, maybe because her soul knew before her mind did. And there it was. "Bianca, I'm waiting for you, darling, tonight. Room 308. Today is your wedding with her. But I know the truth. I am what you truly want." Radu, "Bianca, stop. I've told you this over and over. Bianca, especially today. Maybe now you'll understand what you've lost." Eva's heart stopped for a moment. The world retreated somewhere far away. The music, the people, the laughter. Everything turned into white noise. She put the phone down. She didn't have a breakdown. She didn't shout. She stood up and, with small steps and straight shoulders, went up to the hotel room. She closed the door, undid her bun with trembling hands, and took off her veil. She sat on the edge of the bed and stayed silent. She wasn't crying, but her silence was harsher than any tear. There was a deep pain in her soul. How was it possible? How could it be that her very best friend, the person she had confided in and told all her secrets to, would do something like this to her? Why? Why them, of all people? After a few minutes, Radu came in, frightened. He had been looking for Eva and couldn't find her anywhere, but one look was enough. Eva handed him the phone with the conversation open. Why me? How could you do something like this to me? Who are you, really? Radu froze. He felt like he had nowhere left to run. He stood for a moment, then sat down on the bed, eyes fixed on the floor. Eva, I never did anything with her. Never. She was always the one insisting on me. I always told her that you are the one my soul wants, and that there would never be anything between me and her. But she kept insisting, kept trying, kept sending messages. But yes, I was wrong not to set boundaries. I hoped she would stop. I was ashamed to tell you. I wanted to protect what we have, but look, I ended up doing exactly the opposite. I didn't want to ruin our wedding day, or for you to ever think that I would leave you for her. You ruined it anyway, Eva said quietly. Not with what you did, but with what you didn't have the courage to stop. But I don't want to lose what we have, or lose you. If you want to leave now, I understand. But if you give me a chance, I swear I won't ever let a stranger come between us again. Eva looked at him for a long moment on a day that was supposed to be about love. Betrayal had taken a seat at the table uninvited, but not everything was lost yet. Eva didn't say anything. She came down from upstairs with a determined step, without saying a word to anyone. Her white dress, simple and clean, swayed gently around her ankles, as if it hadn't been stained at all by the pain in her soul. Her hair, now gathered to one side, was slightly tousled, but her face was calm, too calm. In the middle of the lounge, Bianca was laughing. She was sitting at the bar with her perfectly bare back, waving a glass of Prosecco and turning her head every time someone entered the room. She smiled and was very cheerful with everyone. She was seeking glances, seeking validation, and maybe looking for Radu. Eva approached unhurriedly, and when Bianca saw her, she turned toward her with that usual fake smile, as if nothing had happened. Hey, are you okay? I saw you went upstairs. Do you want water? Do you want anything? Everything is wonderful, Eva, honestly. It's the perfect wedding. Eva blinked slowly, then gave a brief smile. It wasn't the same smile as before. Now it wasn't naive. It was clear-headed, sharp. Her gaze slowly passed over Bianca's dress, pale pink, too close to white. An outfit that screamed, "Look at me." Bianca, I don't want anything, Eva said calmly. I just want to end this charade. Bianca's smile froze. I don't understand. You don't need to understand anything anymore, Eva continued, still calm. I've read everything. The messages, your persistence, the attempted. I don't even know how to call it destruction, manipulation, obsession. Bianca blushed a little, but kept her arrogant air. She adjusted the strap of her dress, looking away. I don't know what Radu told you, but he didn't tell me. Bianca, you told me yourself in your messages. Room 308. You wrote just today. So he would understand what he lost. Did you even think about me for a second when you were sending him those messages? You knew how much I loved him, and yet you were so malicious and tried to take him from me. How could you do something like that, I ask you? Bianca was silent. I'm not going to throw you out. I'm not going to make a scene. I'm not going to ruin your reputation. You ruined it yourself. But I'm going to ask you for something you don't deserve. Peace. Get up, walk nicely to the door, and leave. And never set foot in my life again, not even in your thoughts. Bianca bit her lower lip. She wanted to respond, but couldn't find anything believable enough. She knew it was all over, that Eva's gaze left no room for turning back. She stood up, left her glass on the bar, grabbed her small purse from the chair, and headed for the exit with firm steps, but her back hunched in shame. People stared. Some whispered, "What happened?" But Eva said nothing. She lowered her gaze and took a deep breath. She wasn't victorious, she was just free. When she turned back toward the dance floor, Radu was waiting for her. Not with excuses, but with honesty. You did what I should have done from the start, he told her. If you still want me, we start from here. From a place of truth, Eva looked at him and placed her hand over his. It was their moment, perhaps the most genuine one, more genuine than the newlyweds' waltz. Now it was for real. I don't know what tomorrow will bring for us, but today. Today, it was confirmed to me that friends are not always what they seem. And together, they stepped onto the dance floor. Their favorite song was playing in the background, but for the two newlyweds, nothing else could be heard. They looked at each other, and that was enough for both of them to understand that the love between them could not be taken away by anyone. It was a sincere love, and perhaps only that moment was the most beautiful moment of the wedding. It was the truest moment. They no longer said anything to each other. There was no need anymore. They looked into each other's eyes, with a silence that spoke more than 1,000 words. There, in the middle of the dance floor, without applause and without fireworks, they understood that their love, though wounded, had not been destroyed. That what they had could not be stolen. That when it is sincere, love does not disappear. It settles even deeper. Radu held her in his arms gently, as if he were holding her for the first time, but also as if he were afraid of losing her. Eva rested her forehead on his chest and closed her eyes. For the first time that day, she felt at peace. Not the guests' smiles, not the flowers, not the photos, but that moment, that dance, that look, that forgiveness was, perhaps, the most beautiful moment of the wedding. Life did not change overnight. They did not forget what had happened, but they learned to talk about things they would have left unsaid before. They built a new rhythm, more attentive, more mindful. They held hands more often, looked at each other longer, listened to each other more sincerely. And on an April morning, in the soft light coming through the kitchen window, Eva came out of the bathroom with the pregnancy test in her hand. Her eyes, the same gentle and deep eyes, were crying, but not out of sadness, out of gratitude. Radu sat down next to her on the couch. He didn't ask anything. He knew. He saw in her gaze the answer to all their fears. They held each other in their arms, in silence, and between them there was no longer any shadow, only a new heart beating somewhere in there, silent and small, but with tremendous strength alive. A blessing, a beginning. The child was not coming to fix something, but to strengthen what had survived. And that gift, so deeply wished for and so unexpected, brought them even closer together. It healed them in ways that words cannot explain, because sometimes, from a deep wound, the purest joy is born. Not everyone who comes close to you does so with good intentions. Some come not to support you, but to watch you closely, so they can take your place more easily. They pretend to be friends, but behind their smile are cold thoughts and plans that do not include you. And you, because you have a good heart, welcome them, help them, and offer them your trust without knowing that sometimes it is precisely your trust that is the key they use to trample your world. But even so, betrayal can be a gift, a painful one. Yes, but a necessary one, because when the truth comes to light, it cleanses, it cuts deep, but it removes the evil from the root. And if, in the midst of the storm, you choose not to react with hatred, but with dignity, you win. Maybe not immediately, but certainly. And love, even when shaken, even when wounded, if it is true and wanted by both, can be reborn, can become stronger than it ever was. Not because it was never tested, but precisely because it went through the fire and did not turn to ashes. Because sometimes what seems like the end is just the beginning of a purer truth. If you've made it to the end of the story, show us your appreciation. Leave us a like or a heart, and don't forget to share it with your friends. If you liked it, you can also tell your friends about us on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat.